Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today it's time for another video showing you what's blooming in my Waterwise garden in Utah Zone 6. Now this is the end of June and we had a lot of magnificent flowers bloom, some of which you missed, some of which we're going to see. And then I think I'm also going to add a little bit of the foliage and texture that I have in my yard, because the end of June, beginning of July has a little bit of lull in bloom time. But we fill that in with texture and color with just the foliage. So let's show you first what you missed, and then we'll get into what's blooming now. Now that we've showed you what you missed, we're going to show you what's blooming now. Now I love to use foliage for texture and color through my landscape. This is the south side of my property, and I think the way we'll do this is I will just cover what is going on in each section of my property. So this is the front south side between my neighbors and I. And one of the first things that I have that I absolutely love is this sedum. Stonecrop is another name, and it's just starting to bloom with these beautiful little star-shaped flowers. Now the texture is great through most of the year. It does die back for the winter, but the flowers are gorgeous in the summer. We also have a lot of different colors of sedum. Now these are going to be blooming in a little bit. They bloom July through August and then hold their flowers all the way through the winter if you let them. Sometimes they get a little bit messy looking, so I do cut them back. The irises are finished, but their foliage gives a good bold texture. And this is one of my favorites right here. Right here is We1 lavender. It only gets about 18 inches tall, maybe 2 feet wide, but it's a perfect, beautiful little small lavender with gorgeous color. And the bees approve of it too. They're all over this plant. This is late evening and they're still out working. They're really cute. Something else that I love to use for color and texture is my blue spruce. I have blue spruce all over my properties in various sizes and styles, but this is my favorite one. This is the weeping blue spruce. It's probably about 10 feet tall right now, and this is about as big as it's going to get. It might slowly get bigger, but this is the main size of it. Another one that's going to be blooming a little bit later is my hardy hibiscus, and I love the color on the foliage of this. We've got a little bit of a darker texture that matches perfectly with this beautiful St. John's wort. Now I absolutely love this plant. I'll put the full name of it on the screen for you, but look at the blooms. They're beautiful yellow blooms. You've got the red buds, and then you've got the darker texture foliage that is mixed in with kind of a more green color. So this is a spectacular plant and I love it. So we pair that with the foliage of the hardy hibiscus and with this gorgeous, gorgeous Glow Girl spirea. Now I've talked about Glow Girl spirea a lot, and it is one of my favorite plants. Now we also tie in the dark color with this Little Devil 9-bark. Now it does need some grooming. It's 15 years old and has been transplanted, and it's a little bit worse for wear. This is the second year of its transplant journey. We've got some dead coming out on it, but we've got a lot of new growth in the middle, so I'm really hoping for a recovery process on this. We've got grasses for texture in the back. That is a switchgrass, a rosselbrush. It's supposed to get red coloring on the tips of it near the end of the summer. Right now it's grasshopper eaten. One of my next videos is going to be how we're going to deal with the grasshoppers, but the texture is really pretty on this grass. I've also got my Autumn Jubilee 9 bark. That's the seed pod right there. Love the color on that. We've got some gorgeous leaf color on it. And I love how it mixes with the blue spruce. And now, one of my favorite flowers is in bloom. These are lilies. These are, I'm not a real good person on knowing the types of lilies. Maybe you guys can help me down below in the comments. But I think this is a stargazer lily. I'm not sure. But I love them no matter what they are. And I've got several of them throughout my property. I tend to lean towards having the orange lilies because this time of year I really love that orange color. Another plant that I really love for their texture and color are the variegated irises. Now they have blue flowers in the spring, but this time of year their foliage, especially the white variegated ones, really shines through. Now behind all this dying daffodil foliage, let's pull this back a little bit so you can see better. But behind all the dying daffodil foliage, we have another more native plant. This one is a platinum sage. And I love the color. I love the silvery color and the really clear blue, beautiful flowers on it. And I pair that with my penstemon. This is a pine leaf penstemon. It's the orange variety. And a brand new little sundancer daisy. Now these sundancer daisies are also native. They bloom probably the longest of any of the flowers on my property other than the catmint. This one's just little, but they bloom like crazy and I very rarely have to deadhead them. So it blooms until the frost hits it. Another one that blooms beautifully this time of year is my moonshine yarrow. The flowers are big. I love the silvery foliage. And once the flowers are done, the foliage takes over and adds a beautiful silvery shade to the landscape. This right here is my chase tree that died back to the ground over the winter. This was a nearly 8-foot tall, almost multi-trunk tree. But it died to the ground and is recovering. It's a little droopy right now. It's not water that it's missing. It's been watered really heavily. It's just, I think, getting ready to bloom. I've noticed even when it was tree size, when it would start to bloom, the tips would bend over. But you can see the buds right there. So we're going to see blooms on here pretty soon, and they are absolutely gorgeous and big, beautiful blue panicles of flowers. Another one that we have that I love are my pugster butterfly bushes. This one is amethyst, pugster amethyst, and they are really far behind this year. We had a lot of dieback over the winter and they're just starting to come back, and I have pugster amethyst and pugster blue. Another one that's been absolutely beautiful for the color and texture is my little tiny Golden Falls redbud. Now this is a very tiny tree right now. I think the top died back while it was at the nursery, and I don't know how much taller it's going to get. It'll probably just keep mounding. But the foliage color is really gorgeous. Let me see if I can get a shot from the other side. So here's a shot of my landscape from my neighbor's side, so you can see what the redbud looks like from that side. Before we head back around, I want to show you these lilies. They are huge. I think they're probably about 8 feet tall right now. And they are just about ready to bloom. Look how big that bud is. Not sure which varieties these are either, but I love my lilies. Now here's another variety of lily. I don't know exactly what it is. I think this is a double variety of tiger lily. But look how pretty that is. Let's see if I can show you the side. So it's definitely double flowered. And we've got this orange one. And then there's a white one in the back. And then up on top, we have this same orange one that we had on the other side. This just came out of a package of, I think it was just a mixture of lilies that had long bloom times. So I really don't know exactly what they are, but they're gorgeous. This is a new one that I'm really excited about. This is called curlicue sage, or this is called curlicue artemisia. And look how fun that is. I got two of them, one over there and one over here. And I thought the silvery gray foliage would be really pretty with this sedum. This is a darker sedum that I just propagated this spring. You know, it's rooted in, and by next year it'll fill in really pretty and flower like the rest of them. But the curlicue sage with that color, and then I also got a new salvia, and I think this one's called Wild Thing. It's supposed to be semi-evergreen, and we've got those hot pink flowers that are going to be really gorgeous. So all three of those together, I think will make a really pretty show. Another one that I love for the texture and color is my elderberry. So when it's not flowering, the texture and color of the leaves really stands out in the landscape. And this is what the flowers look like. They're just huge blooms that are absolutely gorgeous. Here's one at the top. Now this, along with my sundancer daisies, is my longest blooming flower. This is a catmint. It's just about ready to be cut back so you can have a second flush of bloom. Sometimes I don't even cut them back and it just keeps going. The bees absolutely love these. We've got a lot of different bees hanging out on here, doing their thing. And then I've mixed that with my Angelina sedum and my variegated iris. And then another fun thing that you can do is you can use sedums and hens and chicks for color and texture. So let's just go along this line right here and see all the different colors that we have. There's a sedum. We've got several different colors of hens and chicks. We've got the blue spruce sedum along with that really dark hens and chicks, which is really pretty. And around this corner, we've got even more colors. And so I love the color and textures of these all put together. Now this is a Munstead lavender mixed with my sundancer daisies. This is one of my larger sundancer daisy plants. They're beautiful together. And then add the color and texture of this sedum. I can't remember the variety name. I might try and look that up and see what it is. But I love the color of that sedum. Mix it with the yellow of the daisy and the blue of the blue fescue. And that is a gorgeous color there together. Got our Sweet Alyssum, one of the few annuals that I use here. It's very water-wise. It blooms the entire season. You never have to deadhead it. It brings in the pollinators. And we put that next to my partridge feather. And I love the look of these leaves. I think it's a gorgeous plant. Put that next to my mountain mist pom-pom. This is a dianthus. This is a variety of dianthus that just keeps going. And I've never had to deadhead these. This one's being kind of shaded out by the strawberries. But this one is in full bloom. And look how pretty that is. And I love that color. And I love that color up next to the gray of the partridge feather. We've got blue oak grass in here. So now here we have the blue of the blue oak grass, the purple of the lavender, and then we have the chartreuse of this gorgeous drops of Jupiter oregano. Now the buds are starting to form on this, and it has absolutely gorgeous pink blooms on it. So the pink will mix with the blue. We're going to have the pink of this autumn joy sedum here really shortly. This is going to be a really pretty combination in this corner here. Now this is one of my favorite color combinations. We've got the orange of my lilies over there, the purple of the catmint. We've got the variegated iris being shrouded over by the catmint. And then we've got another glow girl spirea and the yellow of the moonshine yarrow. I love the mix of colors here. And just by using the different flowers that bloom different times of year, this whole area just completely changes looks throughout the year. It's a lot of fun. Now another texture that I love in my landscape is the Mexican feathergrass. Now these are older plants. They're coming to the end of their prime and they're starting to set seed all over the place, and I may need to take out some of the old ones and transplant in some of the newer ones because they are starting to be a little worse for wear. You can see the open center in there. I love the way these shine in the sun and the way they move in the wind. They're absolutely gorgeous grasses, and I have them all over the place. We have another one that needs to be replaced over here because it's just really past its prime. Now this is another plant that I love. This is a geum. It's coming near to the end of its bloom, but look at the gorgeous color on here. Here's one that's really beautiful. And then the seed heads are really pretty too. And this just kind of reseeds itself all over, and I just let it do that. Now I also love thyme. There are so many different kinds of thyme. This one has variegated foliage. I have never seen it flower, and I'm not seeing any buds yet, but I'm sure it will flower, and it's probably got a pink flower like most of the thymes. But even without the flower, I love the variegated foliage. And I love the contrast up next to this darker sedum. Another plant that needs to be divided right now because we've got a hollow center in it. You can see that. But this is my overdam feather reed grass. It's got a variegated foliage. You can kind of see the striping in it. Variegated foliage, and then you've got those gorgeous seed heads on it. So that's another beautiful one. Now it's mid-June, and I've actually only turned on the irrigation on this front yard 2 times so far this year. Now I'm trying to stretch it to go every 3 weeks. We'll just see how it does once it gets hotter. You know, it has stayed in the low 80s, the upper 70s, so it hasn't been that hot. And so we'll just see how well it does. There are some plants in my landscape here that don't do as well with that amount of watering, so I do hand water some of the plants. I hand water my strawberries and I hand water the alyssum. Strawberries get watered twice a week and the alyssum gets watered once a week. So some of the plants are not as water-wise as they can be. The rest of them are extremely water-wise. So as you can see, even without a lawn and with water-wise plants, you can have color and texture and beauty. So hopefully this has been helpful to you. If it has been helpful, I hope you like and subscribe, share it with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.